Yeah, good afternoon, students. Today we'll have the discussion on the social topic, and before that, I'd like to welcome you all once again for the online classes which have been conducted by Shantiniketan School, Mudugal. Today, let us have a discussion on the third unit or the third chapter of your social science, that is the impact of British rule in India. Now, before that, we need to see what is the meaning of impact. Impact is related with effect or the inspirations or the changes which took place with the administration of British in India. See, in the beginning we will come across that the British East India Company, or we can say British East India Company, BIEC, the British East India Company, they fulfilled all their commercial needs. They fulfilled all their commercial needs of trade. Okay. You know very well that by seeing the administrative system and other things, they fulfilled all their commercial needs and they became very much strong in the field of trade. This is how they started the administration. We can say they started the relations with India. And later what we see on observing, that is, there was a weakness in India, and that was the fracture of the political conditions. Indian political conditions were worst. Why? It was worse because there was a competition among Indians. They fought among themselves for the establishment of the dynasties. Once when the British came to know about the competitions among Indians, they decided to introduce the policy of divide and rule. Now, what is this divide and rule? Here, they started creating issues among Indian rulers. Later, which led for the downfall of number of industries. And once when they got control, see, they took few steps, like they went with war and negotiations method. They went with war and negotiation method to defeat India. This is how they defeated India. And we see because of this, number of changes took place in the administration of India. Because of this, because once when they when they defeated number of nations, they slowly introduced the principle of one nation concept. And once when the British came up with the one nation concept, they started their own administration and law here. So that's why we can see number of changes. And now let us see some of the changes which were brought by the British. And the changes what they brought up in India way, first of all, we come across the administrative changes. Administrative and judicial change. What happened in these two? See, first let us go with the administrative. In administrative, they brought a change in, for the first time, civil service was introduced. And who is the person that introduced civil service? Remember, Lord Cornwallis introduced civil service. Now today what you have, exams about civil service exams related with maybe IAS, IPS and other exams what we have today. These exams were actually started by Lord Cornwallis. He started this. And what does this civil service system mean? Here in civil service, employees were appointed. For the first time in India, Lord Cornwallis planned this. Okay. Lord Cornwallis planned and he started or he made employees to be appointed. Actually, before the employees were not appointed, they were based on the hereditary method. But now he said, depending on their ability, we need to appoint the employees. This was what Lord Cornwallis introduced, and for this company, that is East India Company, also gave permission what for private workers. Permission was given for private workers for trade. And once when the private workers were given trade, this led to corruption. The permission which was given for the private workers to engage themselves in trade led to corruption. It is nothing but where the British officers themselves started corrupting in the Indian trade. And because of that, we see corruption started, and as the corruption went on, the economy of the country started lapsing. So in order to control this corruption, the British introduced one act which was called as Regulating Act. And this Regulating Act was introduced in 1773. And this act, the name itself tells you regulating. So it is nothing but controlling. So here this Regulating Act which was introduced, it started slowly controlling the activities of the corrupted officers. This is how we see in administration some changes were brought. And remember, when we come again to the civil service, which was introduced by Lord Cornwallis, these were in the beginning not meant to Indians. Later they planned up, and in 1800, Lord Cornwallis planned up what? He opened a university, or we can say that Lord Cornwallis he started a college, and this was Fort William College. And this Fort William College was introduced in Calcutta. So once when it was introduced in Calcutta, this college aspired, or we can say it encouraged people to join civil services. Remember, for the first time, Lord Cornwallis planned to provide job opportunities even for Indians, and that was in civil service. But this plan failed. Why it failed? The board of directors of the British, these people opposed the college. So we can say Indians were not given a chance. See, though in 1800 Lord Fort William was started, up to 1853 this was the point of civil service was not encouraged, and in 1853 onwards we see civil service exams were started. And these civil service exams from 1853, civil service were appointed on the basis of competitive exams. And now the appointments were started. But though the competitive exams were introduced, though civil service exams were introduced, this civil service exam was less beneficial for Indians. Why? They were less beneficial for Indians because they believed, as Lord Cornwallis says, according to him, Indians are corrupted. And because of this, as he gave the statements, Indians are corrupted and don't allow Indians to provide job opportunity in high post. So because of this principle, Indians were given jobs only in lower grade. Only lower grade jobs were given for Indians. So this is how we can see the impact of the British, especially on Indian administrative system. So what we see in these points, the civil service exams were introduced, but they were not encouraged in the beginning. Later they were encouraged from 1853. Though they were encouraged from 1853, Indians were not given that much of importance, as they believed that Indians were corrupted. And in between these, we can also see the introducing of Regulating Act in 1773, and this Regulating Act was introduced in order to control the corruption which was being done by the private workers. So this is about the administrative changes which took place, especially after the arrival of the British. And about judicial system we will check out later. Thank you.